Hello, it's me. So, Emmanuel Macron and Keir Starmer, two cheeks of the same arse. It's my opinion that they are both liberal left devotees. And when I say liberal left, I don't mean traditional left, I don't mean socialist left or democratic left, I mean liberal left. And you could argue that it was started by Tony Blair. That was when British politics for the left really changed. There's a story that he went into the offices of The Sun and spoke to Murdoch himself and said, "What do we need to do to get your support?" Because the papers had been so effective in vilifying any left politician that there was no way that they could succeed in the long term. And so the left traditionally has always been the poor political cousin to the right, fighting for the people's interests against the far richer private interests that owned the papers that were slandering them, that were doing them down, that were making things difficult via the daily headlines. I'm sure we all remember the footage of Emmanuel Macron, Keir Starmer, and Friedrich Merz of Germany on the train, and on a little table on the train, there was a little bag of a white, what looked like at least, a white powder. The white powder seemed to be, to all and sundry, the classic illustration of a little bag of cocaine. But it struck me as I watched them all greet each other with hugs and bro handshakes that these men were far too comfortable with each other. These aren't political adversaries. These men are friends. Deep friends. Close enough friends that they might allegedly share a bag of cocaine together. Did I say allegedly? Just in case I didn't say allegedly share a bag of cocaine together. And that moment, watching the three of them on the train together, encapsulated everything that I was thinking at the time. It crystallized a thought for me. And that thought was, we're being taken for a ride. And that realization, in turn, galvanized another thought. And that was, this is why the deals on migrant crossings aren't working. Because these men are apparently all on the same side. And that begs another question. Who do they work for? Well, my first thought was the World Economic Forum, the WEF, under Klaus Schwab and Ursula von der Leyen, amongst a host of others, who have their private interest fingers in political pies all across the world. But the old saying is, everybody answers to somebody else. And so you have to ask yourself, if it is the WEF, then who's pulling their strings? Could it be BlackRock? Mossad? The CIA? Tony Blair, as I said earlier, the potential spark for the liberal left's birth and subsequent implementation, was pictured a few years ago on a boat, with Larry Ellison, a very wealthy, powerful individual. Who does he work for? Or is it in fact a little of all of the above? I'm fond of spouting on this channel my belief that the world is drenched in secret state assets, each of them doing the bidding for the department that has captured them, and potentially two newscasters are sat next to each other in some newsroom reading the news off a screen that is being sanctioned by one or other shadowy organisation, each of them doing their bit for their own paymasters and potentially not knowing that the other is doing the same. One thing is for sure, when we look around, we can all agree that the world is in a mess. And the political structures around us that govern everything currently have been put in place very artificially. The natural process of democracy has been usurped in favour of a conveyor belt of suited, unqualified idiots who, like Keir Starmer, almost without regard or thought for how it looks in the real world, just does the bidding of whoever it is who is telling him to jump. The deals on migrant crossings aren't working because they're not supposed to work. They're being fudged and failed intentionally. Whilst publicly on the face of it, press conferences are held, various statements are made to say, we'll get there. And what is it we just gave France? We gave them another few billion or million to $300 million help with the migrant problem. All I can say is it doesn't matter how much money we give France. It's not going to work. If you can't quite see the conspiracy that I'm talking about here in Europe, then look no further than what Donald Trump has done in the US to the plans of Sleepy Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Gavin Newsom, and others. He's taken a wrecking ball to everything in his effort to make America great again. And whereas that doesn't suit everybody and certainly won't solve every single problem, it appears he's having a net positive effect. At least for some in the US. Do let me know what you think in the comments below. Do like, subscribe, and share. It really would help the channel. And until next time, do look after yourselves.